Hello, guys. How we doing? Welcome back to the Free Hammers podcast, episode 97. Oh, ticking up on
Crazy,
those
man.
100 episodes.
Crazy.
Here with Luke, as always. No guest today, so it's just me and Luke. How's things, mate?
Yeah, good. Like I say, man, I did try and get in touch with a few guys, some big ones as well, Dave Walker, Kevin Slade. But, it's Christmas time. And as you would expect, very, very busy. And these guys are very busy. But they have confirmed they will come on the show at some point. Anyway, let's get away from all the political news that's going on in the world today that big reporters are not allowed to report on. So we're not going to report on it either. And I don't want to talk about it anyway, to be honest with you. So, start, mate, because I didn't do a review deliberately. I was waiting for you, to be honest with you. I know it happened a little while ago now.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's it, mate. I mean, we started out fine. Let's be honest, and everyone said this. That's the worst Arsenal team I've seen in decades.
Oh, mate, it was disgrace. Like the Arsenal teams that we've grown up watching, Vieira's, Henry's, Bergkamp's, even before that, Tony Adams, Ian Wright's, they were awful. They were awful.
They were shocking. The amount of opportunities they gave us. Any other team in the league, Arsenal will take a lot from that win, and this is their season turned around. They shouldn't, because if they were playing any other team in the league, they would have been pumped for 4-5-0. They were terrible.
Well, they're playing out the back, don't press. Like any good manager, like say they played Liverpool and they were playing out the back like that. Jesus Christ, Liverpool would have been a massacre.
Yeah, and we managed to get the goal kind of fortunate. Although it's a joke how long VAR looked at it, they were desperate to rule it out. Gotcha. Nothing wrong with it. Come off of Vogbonner's sort of shoulder, really. But yeah, we managed to scrape the goal, and then you're thinking the way that the game was going, you're thinking, oh, we're going to win this comfortably. We should score another. We should score 2-3 here easily, and that's that. That'll be fine. But then, as soon as Arsenal scored, we just gave up. Like we completely gave up. The players just stopped. They stopped running. They stopped working. They stopped tackling. It was a joke. It was an absolute disgrace. They literally gave up. I made a point, even the likes of Captain Fantastic, Mr. West Ham, Mark Noble, in a London derby, when we went down 2-1, you're thinking, oh, Mark's at least going to put himself about a bit.
Or smash someone up in the air.
Yeah, exactly. Try and galvanise the team. And I watched him specifically because I ended up jumping on the price boost on Sky. Sky they were giving 6-1 for Noble to get carded. I thought, oh, lovely. That's a banker. We've just gone 2-1 down against Arsenal. He's going to be flying around the midfield. And after that, I watched him. And for the last 20 minutes of the game, he didn't put in a tackle. He did not put in a tackle. He was just strolling around the centre of the pitch, hiding. He didn't want the ball. He didn't do anything. And that spread out to the whole team. It really did.
The Cresswell thing changed the game though as well. I thought Cresswell was having a good game.
Cresswell was having a good game. And it did. The fact that Masuaku allowed Pepe onto his left was ridiculous.
Just have a shot, mate. Go on.
Yeah, it was poor. But I don't think you can blame the entire collapse just on Cresswell going off. Cresswell had been booked. Pepe had started getting down that side more and more.
Third goal where the midfield literally just went like that. Go and walk through. Go and get a goal.
Poor. Even the equaliser, Declan Rice, he literally watched. What was the guy's name who scored? Martinelli. He literally watched him walk into the box and tap it in. He was jogging behind him. That's Declan Rice, who's supposed to be our saviour of the season. We just completely gave up. And obviously, we're going to talk about the manager. But for me, and I've been saying for the last few weeks that I haven't seen any sign of improvement. And for me, the fact that when we conceded, the team just stopped. That's it. He's done. There is no way back. There's no point in him carrying on. Once the team gets to that point where when we concede, they're just walking around, it's done. It's finished. It's over.
And it's just, I don't know. We will talk about him a bit more, but just let's carry on the game a little bit. So you wait till 3-1 down before you bring Haller on.
I
know the goals went boom, 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 9 minutes, but 1-1, Haller should have come on and he should have been playing up top with Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Then he took off Anderson. Anderson wasn't having the best of games. He's always capable of just one spot, one bit of magic.
That's the thing as well.
I just don't.
I know a lot of people have been slating Anderson, and he hasn't been doing enough. He scored one goal in the last calendar year, if that. He's not at his best. He's not doing what he was doing last year. He seems scared to take people on, but he gets subbed off every single game now. 70 minutes off comes Anderson. If you were him, what would you be thinking? If I was him and I knew that regardless of how anyone else on the team's playing, I'm going to be bought off at 70 minutes anyway, I'd start getting a bit wound up. I'd be thinking, oh, what's the point? I'm going to get subbed off anyway. And yeah, that's the wrong attitude, and you shouldn't have that attitude, but I can understand it. Do you know what I mean? Why is he the first one to get hooked every time?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. Because he has got, and he is desperate for a goal, like absolutely desperate for a goal. One player that has been impressing me, though, if I want to put one positive on it, I think Fornals is looking. That's the only word I'm going to put. That's the only word I'm going to say is tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's been getting better every game, particularly the last two or three games. He's been getting more into the game. He's one player that actually has been making the effort to run. I can't remember, was it the Chelsea game? I can't remember. A new texter said about Fornals, he got forward and he lost it or something. And I said at least he's making them runs. He's the only player in the team at the minute who is trying to make them runs behind and get up to support the striker. At least he's doing that.
His link up game looks a little bit better. I have to say, it looks like his link up is gradually getting there.
The passing's getting better. He's a good player. We all, even West Ham fans that were saying, was sort of slagging him off. I don't think anyone's ever thought he's a bad player, just not necessarily the player we needed at the time. But he's starting to show that quality now, and that's great. And hopefully he carries on. And he is one player who looks like he cares. I think Ogbonna has been by far our best defender this season. I think since he's come back into the team, I don't think he's done really anything wrong, to be honest, even though we've lost.
No, not really, no.
I don't think Ogbonna's really done much wrong. But apart from those two...
and we can't keep relying on him because he is an injury-prone player now. We're desperate for, like... In that Arsenal game, what we needed was Lanzini, a ball carrier, someone who's going to pick it up and drive. Defence would have absolutely just gone, I don't know what to do, But you can't keep relying on that man because he's injury prone now.
And I think it showed again as well against Arsenal that Antonio, as much as we all love him and he's a trier, he's not a striker. He's not a striker.
No, it's back to Slav days, that is. Yeah, and I'm not slating Antonio, not slating him.
He had one opportunity early on, smashed it into row Z. And the commentator said, "Oh, that's unusual." Again, I'd say in group, and the commentator goes, "Oh, that's unusual. Antonio's normally better from there." No, he's not. He normally
smashes that one over all the time, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's what he normally does. When he scores, it's a rare occasion. Don't get me wrong, Antonio's been fantastic this season. We've really missed him, but that game showed that we can't rely on Antonio coming back being fit. It's going to save our season. He's not.
It also shows to you as well, mate, that we bought an £8 million striker in a jetty, and yet you've got a £45 million one on the bench, and you're still starting Antonio over them. What does that say about the club and the scouting policy? And
100%. And again, you talk about, like you say, we've got a £45 million striker on the bench. We are not a big enough club to have a £45 million striker on the bench. He bought Allaire, 45 million on the bench. He bought Anderson. No, did he buy it? Yeah, he did buy Anderson, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, it was one of his first signings.
Subs him off every game. He bought Diop. Can't even get in the team at the moment. Like the signings he's made. He bought Yarmolenko. Apparently Yarmolenko weren't even injured or anything. He just didn't put him in the squad.
Yeah.
Like you've spent how much money? £100 million on all of these players, and they're not even in the team.
With Haller as well, pundits keep saying it, and it's so true. He's not a bad player. He's just not the player. West Ham, for the way that Pellegrini plays, he's not the player that we need.
No,
I'm not saying he's a bad player. That's not.
No, he's because we know that again. We know he's not a bad player.
He's playing the free.
He started off well. He had a fantastic goal scoring record in Germany, playing in a free. He's not used to playing up front in his own. Yes, you can say he doesn't put himself about enough. All right, I'd agree with that as well. I think he does.
I reckon they knew that though. I reckon they knew that. You know, like when you're scouting, you're not just going to go from a hard working player to a lazy player. That is just scouts would have seen. Right, he's not that. He doesn't move that much.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and if he ain't the right player for Pellegrini's system, why did he buy him?
That's what I'm saying.
Why did he buy him? If he wanted him, why ain't he playing the system to suit him? And again, this is all of this. Yeah, you can go on about the board and about lack of investment, and that's true, 100%. I will say that all the time. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the manager. He's not getting the best out of the players. The players he's signed, he's not playing. The ones he does play, he plays them in positions they're not suited to. He plays the wrong system.
It is wrong for you. We'll move on just quickly. Sorry, so just on the Arsenal game, very, very disappointing. See, yeah. So does it make you angry? Just sad now. So for me, it's making me sad. I feel like this has been going on for too long, and there's a deep culture in the club now. I'm going to put it out there. I think there's a culture at West Ham of easy, laid back. How many times do players come to West Ham, are supposedly amazing, and leave West Ham, and they're good? Yeah. Managers just don't bad overnight as well. I think there is a culture of that West Ham training ground, and I'm talking years and years. It starts off that, oh yeah, we're intense, and then it just goes like that, and then not real, you know, like a winning club. This is a job mentality. It's a bit of a Jolly Boys outing.
No, I agree 100%, mate. 100%. How many times have we had, you know, players come in and say that the training players come in, and then after they leave, or even when they've still been here, turn around and say, "Oh, I'm really surprised at the training. You know, we come in and do 2 hours training in the morning and then go home." That's that. Like
Slaven Bilic, it was just on the weights all day.
Yeah, you know, players literally have come in and said that our training setup is a joke, and this is where you can level some criticism at the board. You know, we've got, you know, 65,000 seater stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in the country now. You know, we're supposed to be a big club. We're supposed to be a Premier League club. Our training facilities are a joke. Our training facilities are an absolute joke. They're disgraceful.
Was it 4 million? Was it 4 million? I'm just figure that out.
If you look at the pictures, you know, they tidied up the entrance a little bit and they put a fancy sign up, but the actual facilities are a joke. If you
Leicester, £100 million training ground, Leicester.
Yeah, if you look at other clubs, other Premier League clubs, even other Championship clubs, their facilities are so far ahead of West Ham's, and then we wonder why we have injuries and stuff. You imagine if you were a player, right, and you were coming to look around the club, you were coming to West Ham, you were coming for transfer talks. You've already been to you've already been to, like, say, Leicester. You've already been to, say, Everton. You've already been to a couple of clubs around our sort of level. You've been to Southampton, Wolves, and then you come to Rush Green. What would you be thinking? I would be, if I was a player and I had no affiliation with West Ham, I'd be thinking, what is this? I'm coming to train in a port cabin. I ain't going to come here. I want to go to these other clubs that have got world-class training facilities that are obviously putting money into the infrastructure of their club. And there you can slag off the board, you know. But it's, I don't know. No manager seems to have been able to have the power to come in and change that. And I 100% agree with your original point, mate. I do think that has created a culture of laziness. You know,
there 100% is. Like, it happens too often. It's all back to this, like, does it make you sad? Like that Arsenal game, and who was the team we played before Arsenal? Hadn't won as well. Oh God, my brain's gone. I can't remember who it was now. Anyway, how often does it happen that we're the team that gives away the 3 points? How often is it that a player scores their first goal? Arsenal, Monday, I'm sure you heard the stat, mate. They hadn't come from behind to win at half time, something like 8 years.
8 years, yeah.
Ridiculous. Why West Ham? Why is it always West Ham? Again, it leads back to that culture. I don't know. Like, it can't just be, oh, we're a voodoo club and we're cursed and this happens. No, there is something wrong with the club that it keeps happening all the time, year after year after year.
Mm. Yeah, no, 100%, mate. And it's, I don't know. When does it change? When does it change?
The only we was talking about chairman. Like, my dad was saying that, oh, you know, this goes back to the Kearns and Clarence Brown. We've never had like a really good chairman. But then I did jump in and say, I think that Eggman was a bit of something was right there with the Eggman.
Yeah, they were unlucky. They
were unlucky, and again, typical West Ham. You know, it goes bankrupt. But his heart was in the right place. You know, we were buying good players at the time. Lemies, Parkers. Kevin Dye got injured,
and they actually were. They were talking about putting money into the infrastructure of the club. It was the Icelandics that originally went when the Olympic Stadium was being first talked about. They went and offered to pay for it. The Icelandics went and offered to pay for it to be built with football in mind.
Yeah.
For West Ham to come in, you know, 100%. They were looking, and it is a massive shame, and it's typical West Ham. Like you say, mate, we get the only billionaire that goes bankrupt. But I do think that they would have put money into the club, and I do think that we could have gone somewhere. Yeah, I think we could have gone somewhere.
I'm not saying he didn't waste a lot of money. There was a lot of waste there. I think you can look at like Freddie Lundbergs and people like that. Was a bit of waste, but you know, their heart was in the right place, and I think again, if they wouldn't have gone bankrupt, I think we would have been all right. I think they could have made us a big club. Is Boris Johnson to blame for West Ham move to the London Stadium? No, it's David Sullivan had pound signs in his eyes, thinking I'm going to sell this club and it's going to look attractive to new owners. But at the moment, I think West Ham is probably the most unattractive club to buy in the league, in the football league.
Well, I don't know. You say that, but I don't know. I don't think that's technically true. You know, if you were a businessman and you were looking at it coming in purely from a business standpoint, not from a football standpoint, they've got a massive stadium in London, huge fan base, paying peanuts of rent on the ground. You know, it's a money spinner. It doesn't cost any money to maintain. I think if you were looking at it from a purely business point of view, I would say that West Ham is a massive potential club. It depends. The big thing with us and for any potential owners is, are they going to come in and are they just going to do what the likes of Golden Sullivan are doing and just skim money off the top? You know, get their bank accounts fatter and fatter and fatter, and just let the club survive as best as they can in the Premier League? Or are we going to get owners that are actually going to come in and say, right, okay, let's move this club forward. Let's do something with the stadium. That's the big thing. You know, we need to be very careful about the next set of owners who we get, because I don't know, it could just be more of the same. Hopefully it's not.
So a couple of rumours in the papers today about player riffs. Again, not pulling their weight. People like apparently Haller's getting a lot of stick in training and stuff like that. I've got no problem with player riffs though, as long as he doesn't turn into a poisonous apple. Again, I know you're not his fan of him, but Roy Keane always says half that Man United dressing room that won the league and the Champions League never spoke to each other. Like Andy Cole and Teddy Sheringham, and he didn't speak to Peter Schmeichel. So, you know, I've got no issue with that.
No, like you say, mate, as long as it doesn't affect performances. And I can see it, the likes of Allaire getting stick. I can see it 100% though. Again, we've spoke about this before. Allaire 100% is looking at this now thinking, what have I done? He's ruining his career.
Yeah, won't be going to the Euros for France. Probably thought this is going to be my platform like Payet.
Yeah, exactly. If I was him, I'd be pretty wound up as well. So yeah, I can't say I saw the story, so I don't know too much.
I think it was in the Sun. Again, it might be a load of rubbish, but just something I see in the Sun. I thought I'd chuck it in the show today. Let's just in a chat quickly. Oh, guys, what do you make of reports today that Harry Redknapp, oh my God, is in the run, and apparently Big Sam, Moyes and Pardew are all in the run? Surely that's just paper spin. Surely.
Yeah, of course it is. Allardyce, no, he ain't coming back. Moyes, I doubt it.
Moyes, I could see. Out of all them names there, Moyes, I could see.
If you were David Moyes, you'd be wanting money and you'd be wanting a 3-year contract. and I don't think they'd give it to him. Pards,
dinosaur.
You know, do you know what though?
Soft spot for Pards.
Pardew, Redknapp, or to be honest with you, Pardew, Redknapp, Moyes, Chris Hughton. If any of them were going to come in for 6 months, I actually wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't, any of them.
If you're talking a firefighter that's going to come in and and they're going to go for a big manager in the summer again, I think you got a point there actually.
Yeah, not Sam, because I hated Sam when he was here. I hated him, and I don't never want to see him at West Ham again. But the others, 6 months, I genuinely wouldn't have a problem with that.
Are we? We were just talking about the board and the club being a proposition for owners, future owners, but are we a proposition to any future manager at the moment? Your boy was there at the game Monday, wasn't it? Niko Kovac. Yeah. Benitez was there. I think Benitez is going to be too expensive, so I think we can wipe his name out. Got Ancelotti, who just lost his job. Poch is available. We ain't going to get Poch, but are we an attractive club?
Well,
are they really going to go? That 40 million loan just before you start. Sorry, mate. 40 million loan. Are they really going to go? Do you know what? Ain't going to take that out of the club. We'll go to a new manager. Us maybe another 10, 15 million. So they've got 55, 60 million to spend in January. That is not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No, they're not going to pump big money in January. I think as far as the managers are concerned, I've spoke to a few people about this. I think we've spoke about it on the show. And when we had Gonzo on, I'm pretty sure Gonzo was making a point as well that there's not that many jobs in the Premier League. And for a manager looking to come into the Premier League, we're not a bad proposition. It all comes down to money. I think if we are going to attract those caliber managers, we are going to be massively overpaying them. And at the moment, it's difficult because there are going to be better options out there. The likes of what it might help us actually. The fact that there are a few jobs opened up in a minute. So yeah, you've got the likes of Kovac, and he was at the game. And people saying, well, maybe he was looking at Arsenal, maybe he could be going to Everton. But then, like you say, now we've got his name's gone. Ancelotti is now available. So there's a few, like you say, Pochettino's available. You've got Kovac, Pochettino, Ancelotti, Allegri still hasn't got a job. There's a few big name managers out there now, and there's not that many big jobs going. So it could open something up if we put the right package together. I think
change West Ham as a club, though. You have Gonzo said it. He keeps repeating it on his videos, but I do agree. Someone has to be given £100 million to spend. To make a real difference, they've got to be given that. They're not going to give them 100 million, are they? New manager, it'll be epoxy amount.
Not in January.
30 million to spend.
Not in January, but they probably would in the summer because they always do. They've always backed their manager in the first summer. They always have done that. So it wouldn't surprise me. I think like I say, and I've been saying his name on this show for weeks, ever since he got sacked from Bayern. I would love to see us go for Kovac. He's one who's realistic, who I'd love to see us get. But I think the board would be insane if they weren't on the phone to Ancelotti. They'd be insane.
So you've got to make the call, ain't you, at least?
Yeah. And I reckon he'd come. I'm sure I read somewhere that he has said previously that he would manage West Ham.
I think that rings a bell, actually. I remember reading something like that, yeah.
So I think the board would be insane not to at least make the call. He's probably going to have... He will probably end up at Arsenal, I think. But
maybe even Everton. Everton would be quite a good job for him.
But I definitely think we should be on the. We should at least be in the conversation. But that's not going to happen unless we get rid of Pellegrini.
That's it. As Ray Winston would say, get him on the blower. So this is the name that's all over Twitter at the moment, mate. I'm sure you've read it.
Enzo.
Called Enzo Maresca, just for those people that have never seen this elusive tactician dreams. So the spin, this is the guy that masterminded the Chelsea win. So why wasn't he masterminding the Wolves game? Why didn't he mastermind the Arsenal game? So was he only in charge for Man United and the Chelsea game? We won them games. What about the mate in the middle?
That's the question, isn't it, mate? I did read today, apparently X on Twitter has said that he's been in charge for other games that weren't the first game that he was in charge of and we lost. So it's not as if he's some tactician tactical mastermind that no one's ever heard of and just come out of the blue. To me, it reads very much as the board just undermining Pellegrini. That's to me, that's all I see that as. I think they've leaked this story purely to undermine Pellegrini. Who knows? This guy might be brilliant. We don't know, but I don't know. It doesn't really excite you, does he?
No, it don't. I'll tell you one thing as well, mate. Back to that thing about the culture at the club. Just look at Slav now. In terms of you ain't a bad manager, mate. You know what I mean? He's doing some good bits down there with West Brom, and again, it just leads to that thing: is there this culture at West Ham? Like, West Brom looked like a really good club. Diagana's doing absolute magic as well down there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the same pattern, isn't it? It's the same pattern. You know, all the managers that they have employed, apart from I'd say Grant, although even when we employed Grant at the time, he didn't look to be like no one thought he was going to be the disaster that he turned out to be. But if you look at the likes of Bilic, you look at even the likes of Allardyce, much as I hated him, likes of David Moyes, none of those are bad managers. Objectively, they're not bad managers, but they all came to the same point in the cycle where the investment from the top stopped and they started getting undermined in the press, and then they got forced out. It's happened to every single manager they've employed. So there's 100%, there's a pattern there, 100%, and it is that it's in the fabric of the club under these owners.
Yeah, Jason says Enzo will take over. Back into the chat. You think we will go down? So many people think we are to go down. Who is who is worse than us overall? I think that's the big question. I don't think there's 3 teams worse than us, but we're the worst team at the moment. Honestly do. If you look at the minute, I will put up the league table for the Southampton game, but I'll flash it up for you now in terms of bottom lot that are form table. But the only team worse than us in regards to form is the man that we all want, Eddie Howe.
Yeah,
and 5 losses in a row.
And I'm pretty sure Arsenal were down there as well before the weekend.
Too good to go down? No, that 2003 team was better than this.
Yeah, of course we're not too good to go down. And I don't know why Pellegrini's still here. I don't know why Pellegrini's still here. If we don't sack him, we'll go down. 100%.
What's all this one game crap as well? Like, so you're basically, again, I'm sort of parroting a little bit of the other channels here, but basically saying we can sacrifice 3 points. If we lose, sack him. What happens if we draw? If we draw?
What happens if we win? And then we lose the next 5?
Yeah. You know what I mean? All this one game stuff for a bloke who's, sorry to say it, Pellegrini, I wish it would have worked out for you. Dead man walking. So just do it. Just sack the guy. It's so frustrating. All this diva and delay. It's just so frustrating. Like, man, he's not going to be our manager next summer. Not going to be our manager probably in January. What is the hold up? And if it is this case of, again, there's that rumour that if we fall into the bottom 3, we can get rid of him on the cheap. Are you prepared to let the club go into the bottom 3 so you can maybe save 10 million?
And do you know what? I don't believe that anyway. I don't think that our board would have had the foresight, and I don't think when they brought Pellegrini into the club, the last thing on their minds would have been relegation. I don't think that they would have put something like that in his contract. So I don't really buy that anyway. But yeah, 100%. I don't know what they're waiting for. Get rid of him. Get just this Enzo guy. Let him manage until we get a proper manager to come in. Do something, do anything to change it up, because at the moment, it's completely pointless. We are just wasting time. We're just wasting time.
That's it. I'm not even angry with Pell anymore. It's all on the board to act now. And it is. The longer it goes on, Snazzy, is on the board. The longer this goes on, it doesn't become about Pellegrini anymore. And there's more pressure as well, because so many managers have been fired this year.
Yeah.
Arsenal didn't mess around. Tottenham, boom. Mourinho was in within 12 hours. Everton, he's gone. Watford for about 7 managers already. Just classic them. Gary Page again in the chat says, I love Mark Noble, but over the last few seasons, problem with our players' attitude. He can't be a good leader. I do love him. He's just an aging guy as well now, Mark. Do you know what I mean?
I think Mark's. I don't know. I think the problem with Noble, Mark is a good leader, and all the players always say that he's brilliant in the dressing room, in the changing rooms. I think the problem is he's coming to the end of his career now, and he's massively involved in the youth team and with the youth players, and the youth players really look up to him, and I think he's brilliant for that. But I think at this point that the club's at now, and the point that Mark's at in his career, if you're the likes of Felipe Anderson, if you're the likes of Sebastian Haller, you're coming into the club 45 million, 40 million, you're the big thing now. If you were one of those players, you don't know West Ham or their history or anything like that. You look at Mark Noble. What's Mark Noble ever done in his career? Why? If you were one of those players, why would you look up to Mark Noble as an inspirational figure? Do you know what I mean? You wouldn't. I think it's brilliant what he does with the kids at the club, and I think he's an inspirational figure for them. But I think at the stage the club's at now, with these potentially superstar players coming in, like I say, the likes of your Felipe Andersons, your Sebastian Hallers, Yarmolenko's, why are they going to look at Mark Noble as that leader figure? Do you know what I mean?
Well, at the start of this season, would you have thought that Mark Noble would have been in the team as much as he's played this year?
No. And I don't think the manager would have either, to be fair.
You thought Antonio would be fine. And it's just back to that plan and the things not working out. Right, let's just move on. December preview. Right, these 3 games, 0 points. There we go. That's all I'm going to predict. 0 points.
Yeah, we might fluke a draw against Southampton. Palace, can't see anything. Leicester will destroy us.
And you know what? With Leicester, I fear someone made a really good point. All right, Liverpool, they would probably get to 3-4-0 and just go, okay, we'll start resting players. Leicester is going to go for 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. And then what would that do to us? What the hell would that do to us?
I don't think, the only thing is I don't think Pellegrini will still be in charge by then. So maybe we will have a change of attitude and some actual energy in us. But if we're anything like we are now, going into that game, we will get absolutely destroyed.
We're actually really fortunate as well that obviously Liverpool are playing in that World Club Championship, because Liverpool should also be on that fixture list. That could have been 2 absolute massacres. Saints away. We'll talk about that in a minute. Palace got a good record there at London derbies, but again, there are more fighters in their team than we've got. Like you say, mate, Leicester, just for me, a guilty pleasure at the minute. They're one of my favourite teams to watch in the league at the minute. Just fantastic team. Vardy just transformed this game, turned into a brilliant. He was a brilliant player anyway, but he's just got 0 points for me. Maybe 1, like I said, maybe 1, maximum of 1. Okay, let's go into it. Southampton preview. So they are currently sitting in 18th. I'll flash it up again just so you can see, guys. It's a bit small, but yeah, there they are, 18th there. If they win, they would go above us, and there's a very, very high risk that we would fall into the bottom 3. Obviously, where we don't play for, I think it's 10 days after that game, because of the Liverpool game being scheduled, we
the only thing is
Villa will be in the bottom 3.
Villa are away to Sheffield United, and I can't see him getting anything there. I can't see him getting anything out of that. I don't know who their game is after them, though. So I don't think we'll be in the bottom 3 at Christmas, but it's possible.
So just very quickly, Leicester will slaughter us. They don't let up unless we start to play 5 at the back, which is what we need to do. We will lose on Saturday, and Pellegrini will be gone. Listen, I don't want us to lose. I do want Pellegrini gone. So I'm going to be political there. Last time out, they lost 2-1 to Newcastle. And who was the team that reinvigorated Newcastle? Was it West Ham? Ings, 11 goals for him, doing stuff. Ward Price, I really like him. That West Ham could do with really, really good player. One thing that does look bad for us, last season we did do the double, beating 3-0. I was at that game, and 2-1, 2 really good goals from Felipe Anderson in that game. He really dragged us out of that game. Just looking at them as well. The only injury they've got is a guy called Sam McQueen with a cruciate ligament. Apart from that, they've got no suspensions and no injuries. Just going to drop into the chat quickly. The board is running the club. Why are we the last club to sack a struggling club's manager? I agree. Look at us. So Cresswell apparently did train. Cresswell apparently did train today, mate. So hopefully he'll be fit. I think the big question, mate, that for you, mate, to answer: Ale or Antonio? Both.
As I said, I think the Arsenal game showed that we can't rely on Antonio to play up front. He's not a striker. He never has been. If you're going to play him both. I would be playing Ale, and then I'll be playing Antonio on the right. That seems to get the best out of both of them. Antonio's got that power to power down the right, get up and support. So I'll be playing Antonio on the right and Ale in the middle. So I'll play them together, but I wouldn't play them both up front. I wouldn't play them both as strikers.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I wouldn't mind seeing two up front, be honest, but he's too stubborn. He's not going to do that. There's no way he will do that. You could, like I say, there is an argument for it. Again, you cut the pace off then, don't you? I think it'd be better to go 4-3-3, but really obvious, really obvious three. You know what I mean? Like Ale, Henderson, Antonio. Just in wingers, you got Funnels, Rice, and Mark. Diop back for you?
I would want to bring him back just because I think he should be a first choice centre back. I like Balbuena, but I think Diop and Ogbonna are currently our best centre half pairing. So yeah, I'd bring him back. I'll play him with
Who has looked suspect? I know Lee from the channel who keeps digging him out is Fredericks. He has looked suspect.
Yeah, I think what lets Fredericks down is his final ball's not good. You know, he gets forward, but then he doesn't really do anything with it. I like Fredericks, and he's one that does try, and I like that he's got the pace to be able to get back and cover. But I don't think he's Premiership quality as an attacking fullback.
Is there anyone in the Southampton team that really impresses you that that we should be really looking out for?
No massive standouts, to be honest. I was quite surprised actually when you put the stat up that was it Danny Ings got 11 goals.
Yeah. In all competitions,
that surprises me. I'm surprised at that. That's
I'm just looking through their squad there, players that can hurt us here. Buffal's a good player, carrier, like Nathan Redmond as well.
Redmond always has a good game against us as well.
Yeah, Bertrand's a good player. Rio Ramu, I think that's how you pronounce it. He's a good player. They've got some tidy players, like I say, Redmond, like you say, mate. He's very, very. Shane Long, I don't think he gets in their team anymore, but he's another danger one who likes having good games against us. I'm going to jump in the chat here, mate, because there's a few here. Would you like to see Powell playing the team if Cresswell is unfit? Listen, I like Joey Powell. For me, if you're going to go for someone different, maybe go for Johnson if he's fit now. I'm not sure whether he's fit or not. But listen, every time that young boy's played, he's done a good job.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I don't. The likes of Arthur being a liability, I really like Masuaku. I don't agree. I don't think he's a liability. He was against Arsenal, but he was coming into the game against Pepe's. That's tough to come into. Yes, he made a big mistake letting him in the inside, but I don't mind. Arthur Masuaku starting at all. I don't mind that at all.
Do you boys see a similar to Burnley protest if it continues? I'm scared we'll get to that stage again. If it keeps doing this one game, and then he wins and then he loses 5, yes, it could get to that level again. No,
I don't think so, mate. I think that fire's gone. I think that was the chance, and I think it's gone. I think it will be a very, very long time before the fan base ever gets together like that again. There's a lot of discontent, but I think the problem is we're at the point that was the time. That was the moment. That was the moment. And I think because that fell away and nothing really happened, I think a lot of the people then that were angry and that they wanted to do something, I think just like we were saying earlier about, are you angry? Are you just sad? I think a lot of people were just on the other side now. They're just going to walk away. I think if it keeps getting worse and worse and worse, rather than seeing the people get that fight and go, no, right, that's it. Let's get together. Let's do something. I think more people are now just going to say, I'm just not going to bother anymore.
Yeah, and that's even sadder, isn't it?
Of course it is.
That's even sadder, mate.
That's the worst possible thing I could imagine for West Ham, but that's the way it's going.
That is totally is. I think we will beat the Saints on Saturday. Anderson is due a game. He played really well last season, actually, against him. We can't play two up front. We're too vulnerable with two up front. Big signings have been a flop. Wyndham Anderson, last score, and Haller. We rely on Cresswell and Fredericks can't cross the ball. Clayton likes Wall Price. Will you still? Oh, if we go down, I always. But it could be a new start for the club. Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't stop, and I'm not going to stop supporting West Ham. Coverage will be a lot harder to get hold of, and even more important for all the fan channels out there to make content for you guys, because it is harder to get any sort of news. So if we do go down, we'll still be about a lot harder. And we'll still be about.
Like it's not as if we've never been down before. Do you know what I mean? We've been in the Championship before.
It goes back to that. We had Upton Park then, mate.
Yeah, it does. If we went down, I just anyone who doesn't know, I don't live in England. I live in Ireland now, so it's not easy for me to get the games anyway. But 100%, it wouldn't stop me following West Ham. I'd still be getting over as much as I could. I'd still be watching the games as much as I could. The only time I ever had to take a break was, what year was it, Luke? Was it 2004?
When we lost the first playoff. Yeah, I did watch football for about 3 or 4 months then.
It was hard to keep watching after that. It took me a long time before I could watch any football, not just West Ham, any football at all after that. That was tough.
Yeah, it was. The only time I felt like that recently, and that's not towards West Ham, is when Tottenham came back in that game against Ajax.
Oh, that was
literally horrible. I literally hated football. And I haven't felt like that since that playoff final.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, I can't watch football anymore.
Yeah, I agree, mate. I agree.
It's just horrible. We've got a few more things to discuss, mate. It's a good show this today. More things on West Ham. So, in a January transfer window, there's rumours that a Jetty will be off and goalkeepers in. What does that say, mate? If a Jetty's off and Aaron Randolph is the biggest name linked back.
Two things, mate. So, first of all, going on what I was saying about Pellegrini and his transfers earlier, Pellegrini brought in a Jetty, hasn't played him, and then we're going to get rid of him 6 months later. He brought in 2 goalkeepers, and then we're already talking about one of them's nowhere near good enough to ever put on a West Ham
Roberto's off as well, so
ever again. So what does that say about his transfers? What does that say about his signings? And the likes of the fact that they're talking about bringing in the likes of Darren Randolph. And I said this, mate. I said this a couple of weeks ago. To me, that says that Fabianski's going to be out a lot longer than we're expecting.
That's very true. That's very, very true. I didn't even think of that. That's a really good point you've made there. Yeah, it's just uninspiring, going backwards. Even the other goalies, like Jack Butland's out of form. He was a good goalie. He's still very young, Jack Butland. Jovic, out of form. Can't get into a championship side. They look poor. Like, it's just uninspiring all the time. Austin Murray says, where is Johnson? I know he got injured early on the season, so I don't know if he's slowly coming back. So if you let's do this for like 5 minutes. So our fan channel is a good thing. I don't know whether any of you guys in the chat or the guys watching now, Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV versus Simon Jordan, the former Crystal Palace chairman. Just wanted to have a little chat about it. Mate, what do you think?
It's interesting.
It was the actual question on the thing, I think, was more Arsenal Fan TV toxic, but I've changed it to, are they a good thing?
Like I say, I listened to it only literally just before going live today. And it's interesting from both sides. You've got the one side of it. You had Simon Jordan basically saying that he thinks that they're toxic and they like to build up discontent in the fan base because it gets them more clicks and it gets them more views when people are angry and people are coming on and they're swearing and shouting. That's probably true. Don't get me wrong. I'm not questioning what Simon Jordan did. Simon Jordan was saying, "Oh, you're an alleged fan." That's nonsense. That's absolute nonsense. Those boys are proper Arsenal fans, just like we're proper West Ham fans. Anyone who does this, we do this because we love the club. We do this because we're fans of the club. But I do understand where he's coming from, saying that it makes sense for them. Think they get better views when they lose and that kind of thing. But on the flip side of it, what Robbie was saying is they're there to give the fans a voice, and that's true as well. If you think before the likes of social media, before YouTube, before these fan channels came along, we're only a small channel. We've got a couple of thousand subscribers, but the likes of the boys over West Ham Fan TV and Amers Chat, they've got huge
50,000, 50,000
huge fan bases, and they've got a big voice, and they give a big voice to the fans, that wouldn't be heard otherwise. And I personally think that's a great thing. Obviously, we're part of it on a small scale, but I think it's great that as fans we have a voice now that is heard by the club. Do you know what I mean?
And like you say, we're only a small channel. Even early days when we only had 100 subscribers, we had Jack Sullivan on this show. We were talking directly to Link the board there. We have had some big people on, and it's just nice to talk about West Ham. It's great you guys in the chat talking. And all this thing about negative results bring more fans. Is there an argument though that Arsenal Fan TV is a bit of a freak show in terms of? No, I only watch it as a neutral, and they've lost. It's hilarious. Is there an argument? Yeah. Just to be on the fence. I like Robbie and I like Arsenal Fan TV.
Yeah, no, there is an argument for that. And like I say, there's anyone who denies that, we, again, on a significantly smaller scale, we see the same thing. When we lose, we get much more views. When you're doing a match review of a game where we've lost 4-0 and everyone's angry and annoyed, and this ain't just YouTube, this is in general, the likes of the likes of the match forums on Knees Up Mother Brown. I'm on them every week. Whenever we're playing, I like going on the forums and seeing what everyone
can thinks. Be hostile, that can, yeah.
But again, if we win, those threads are not very long. If we lose, everyone's out venting and everyone's out raging. They're much
Twitter
longer
as well, threads. Mate.
Yeah, Twitter's. I don't use Twitter, but it's the same thing. And from a business point of view, obviously for us, this isn't a business. This ain't a business. We do this because it's fun and we do it to get together for a chat and we do it because we enjoy it. For those boys, it's a business and they have to look at it from that side of things as well. And they know what gets some clicks. They know what gets some views. They know what gets them talked about. So it would be lying to say that they don't have that in mind. But that
you
doesn't
can look at as well. Even on a bigger scale than them, True Geordie got because of how bad Newcastle was under Mike Ashley. He used to go in there, effing, blinding, Look at him now. The geezer's made it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's absolutely made it, True Geordie.
So that you'd be lying if you said it didn't impact, the sort of content they put out. But I don't think that takes away from the good that the
no. They're doing a good thing. They are, and even he doesn't make videos anymore. But Jay, people used to tune into Jay because he did F and blind when West Ham were losing. People like that. It's not a freak show. It's entertaining. It is entertaining. It's entertaining.
And I think there's a part to it as well where, when West Ham lose and everyone's annoyed and everyone's wound up, and then you go on and you watch someone who's going off and they're swearing, they're going mad.
Hilarious.
And it's funny and it makes you laugh. Like you've just had a really bad time. You had a bad result. You're feeling crap. You're feeling depressed. You're feeling down. And then you go on and watch these people come on and it makes you laugh. There's that side to it as well. Do you know what I mean? It's like a relief sort of thing.
West Ham Fan TV, brilliant. Do you know what I mean? But I say their famous thing is the Astra effing Goo Goo video. You know what I mean? Like that boomed their channel. It boomed it massively. Again, what we lost. Again, that's not their thing, you know what I mean? They make it because they love it, and we love it as West Ham fans. But people are always going to enjoy watching people ranting and going off on one. It's funny. It's funny. Do you know what I mean? When we did that, I think when we did that podcast about protest last year. You was effing and blinding on here, which is we don't do on this channel. I think that's one of our highest rated videos. That.
Yeah, it is. The Burnley review is it's funny as well. Like when you look at it from the views point of thing, I think our most viewed video ever
Wolves game was 11,000.
Wolves. What was the Chicharito his first goal or
Southampton?
That was massive, and our views, we got a load of views from like South America, which is mad. But yeah, it's quite funny. But you know, our fan channel is a good thing. I think they are. I think the voice that they give to fans is good. I think the communities that they build within their fans is good as well.
You think there's a last thing on it? So you think there's a bit of snobbery around it from likes of TalkSport, Sky News? Because that interview again, mate, Jim White was bloody awful in that interview.
Yeah, of course there is, and that's because this is new media. You know, this whole thing is a massive threat to traditional media. No one reads newspapers anymore. Everyone goes online, and the more people that go to YouTube for their fan opinions and that kind of stuff, and for their team news and all this kind of thing, the less people that are going to be listening to the likes of TalkSport. So of course there's, you know, they're a massive threat to people like that.
One good point that Robbie did actually make, if you, again, you say you don't really use Twitter that much, man. If you go on TalkSport's Twitter page, right, literally every video, controversy. Someone's saying that, oh, Stam should bring back Sam Allardyce. This one's a bad manager. I don't rate Raheem Sterling. Why? Because you know it's used. There's a guy on that TalkSport. I think his name's Adam Palmer's or something like that. Adam Palmer's. I can't think his name. His whole thing is being controversial. Andy Goldstein and the other geezer, they hate Liverpool, and they just go in and in and in. That's where they get their views from, and they encourage people to ring up when they're angry. Let's get some West Ham fans to ring in. It's a famous West Ham one anyway. He's going in on the game a few years ago. They're not gonna put out the, oh, I thought we played really well. It's a good game. You don't want to hear that. You want to hear people going off on one.
Yeah.
It's a good discussion though. It is. Last thing, mate. Andy Ruiz and AJ too. Just because we always finish off on a little bit of boxing news. Boring fight, but can admire, you know, that he did put on a clinic in terms of boxing skill and showed a different side that I didn't think he had.
Yeah, do you know what, mate? That's actually really true, and that's a good point. I was saying before the fight that for him to win, he needed to come out and do exactly what he did. He needed to come out and he needed to box clever, and he needed to keep his distance, and he needed to take it slow. And I didn't think he had that in him. I thought he was going to lose his temper. I thought he was going to rush him. I thought he was going to try and go for the knockout. He didn't. He showed he has got another side to his game. And fair play. And I'm really pleased. You know, I've always been a big fan of AJ.
I like AJ. I did like Andy Ruiz as well.
Everyone liked Andy Ruiz. Ruiz was he was the Rocky story. Do you know what I mean?
Champ, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He didn't come out of nowhere. You know, he's not a bum. He's a good fighter, but he was that fairy tale story. Do you know what I mean? And everyone loves to see that. But I'm pleased that AJ's got his belts back. I'm pleased that he's going to carry on, and I'm really interested to see.
As well. I don't know who he's going to fight. He looked focused as well.
He did. See that back. I don't know. Apparently, there's a couple of mandatories that he has to take.
But Usyk, do you fancy him against Usyk? I don't fancy him against Usyk.
I don't know. I do. Again, he's going to be much heavier.
I think the other one is Pulev. Was the other one?
Pulev was the other one, but he's stepped up from cruiserweight, isn't he? So
yeah, I don't think he'd have any trouble against him.
No, I think he'd be fine there. I I can't see AJ having too much trouble against either of them, to be honest. And then it's the big thing is, will he fight Wilder? Will he end up fighting Tyson Fury? They're the big fights that everyone.
And where do you see them? Just on that last little there before I go into the chat for the last time. Where do you see him now? That Wilder Fury fights. Does he beat any of them?
If he fights Harry fought against Ruiz against Wilder, he wins easy. He can massively outbox Wilder as long as you don't get caught.
I think I think the danger with the Wilder fight is like the Ortiz fight. If you watch that, I don't know whether you caught the second fight. Ortiz won every single round,
and then just bang.
Sledgehammer.
Yeah, so that's the danger. If he boxes like he did against
Fury did the Wilder for every single round, then bang, that sledgehammer.
Yeah, Fury's a tough fight.
I think Fury wouldn't be able to outbox him.
No, I think then he would need to go for the knockout.
Have to go for it, the power.
And I think if he does, I think he knocks Fury out. 100%. I agree with that. I don't think he outboxes Fury, but I think he can easily. I think he can knock him out. I don't really. Yes, Fury's got heart, but I don't rate his chin.
I don't. Let's go back in the chat. Just the last few bits here before we wrap up. I watch your channel, Hammers Chat and West Ham Fan TV. Always found very informative, honest reviews, and it's my opinion that West Ham Football Club owe you a great depth of attitude.
Cheers.
You keep these shows coming. You're better entertainment than West Ham at the moment. I agree, mate.
Not hard though, is it?
The state we're in, I'd take Fat Sam. He done well for us and was very good at Everton. Things are bad.
Things will never be bad enough for me to want Sam back.
Was disappointed to hear Ruiz didn't train hard for the fight. He's human. Clearly the fame got to his head. He'll be back for sure. As it all would. Do you know what I mean? If you've just earned £15 million in 2 fights, you could buy your family a house, yourself a house, 20 Rolls Royces. As it would. I'm surprised the club hasn't tied up the different channels to do West Ham honest interviews and get loads of people watching. I don't watch the club's crap videos ever. They would never do it. No. Terrified.
If they can't
get honest with honest.
If the club can't control the narrative, forget about it. That's something that I'm sure all West Ham fan channels would love to happen. We'd love to be more involved with the club, and
of course you would. Our interviews and stuff like that. Who would?
It's not going to happen because the club want too much control over it. Luke mentioned earlier on. We did early days. We had Jack Sullivan on twice, and we had Dave Sullivan on as well at separate times, and it was really good actually. And I like to think that we were quite, we didn't really compromise ourselves with it. But for all of those times we had them on, before they only came on if before we published the video, we sent it to them first to check to make sure there was nothing dodgy in it. And without that level of control, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't be interested in doing that anymore. You know,
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't be interested in doing that. You know, without that level of control, the club would have no interest. And it's not something that we would do. I know it's not something that the likes of Hammers Chat and West Ham Fan TV, they wouldn't be interested in that sort of thing either.
See, I'm not going to just say stuff because they've told me to.
Yeah.
Oh, everything's bright and rosy. We're such a great club. No, I'm not. I would not put myself in that position. Oh no, just did that one. Sorry. Tyson schools Joshua for me. Jabs his head off all night. And last one, would you boys bring back some of the loans, even Jordan Hugo? Well, Jordan Hugo's doing really well, mate. Wherever he is.
But the thing is the problem is like, why did we sign a Jetty? We might as well have kept Hugo. They're basically the same.
Yeah. That is it. Wrapped up nicely, just under an hour. Thanks for joining in, guys. Did get up to about 50 odd people watching there, which is brilliant. You know, thanks a lot, guys. We'll try and do a podcast next week. Obviously, the week after that is Christmas, so knows what sort of time we'll have during the Christmas time. But I'll put out some reviews and previews of the games over the Christmas period. Until next week, guys, enjoy your Christmas shopping. Go out and vote if you haven't already. Come on, you irons. Keep believing. Let's go.
Cheers.